welcome to another edition of Spotlight on Newcastle County, which features all things Newcastle County. I'm your host, Tony Prado. Melody Kitchen is off today. You never know who we're going to talk to or where we're going to visit. And today I am pleased to welcome to the NCC TV studio, Priest Thayer, who is here to talk about his new play, Mama's Boy. Thank you very much for being here today, Priest. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. How about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. To begin with, we're talking about your play, so let me ask you, how long have you been a playwright?
I think it's been about eight or 8.5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. And Mama's Boy is, how many plays have you done in all?
This is my 8th play.
8th play.
Believe it or not, yes.
So you're averaging about a play a year.
Yes.
That's not bad.
Yes.
That's
yes.
not bad. And let's get it out of the way early, and we'll come back to it. But when and where is your play, Mama's Boy?
Mama's Boy is going to be featured at the Grand Opera House for 2 shows. It's January 25th and 26th. We have 2 shows on that Saturday, one at 3:30 and one at 8:30, and then we have one on that Sunday at 5.
Right, and this is at the Grand Opera House?
Yes, in Wilmington, Delaware.
First time at the Grand Opera House, or no?
No, this is actually my 3rd time. My 3rd time, yes.
3rd time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's a beautiful venue.
I love it. I love it.
Now, before we get into Mama's Boy, let me get into one of your earlier plays.
Okay.
Can you tell us about Tears of a Teenage Mother?
It's hard to talk about that play without having tissues, because that's my first play. That's the play that actually got me out of the gate, so to speak. I wrote that play, and it was actually centered around my mother's life. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, and I wanted to write a show about her life to show that she was a success, because I knew she was going to be called home to be with the Lord. So I wrote that play. It took me about 3.5 weeks to write the show, and I never looked at it as a business. It was just something just to honor my mother. And unfortunately, she died 2 weeks before the show hit the stage.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so we did that show at the Grand, I'm sorry, not at the Grand, at the Drama League. No, what is the theater on the waterfront?
Oh, I know what you're talking about, and it's on the top.
It's been so long.
Tip of my
showing
tongue.
my age. Wow, I'll come back to it. But I put the show up, and she, like I said, she died right before the show. And I never forget coming out and seeing sold out on the windows. And
Wow.
after the show, it was a line of people waiting for my autograph. And I'm like, why do you want my autograph? I live right around the corner from you.
Welcome to Hollywood.
So we did the show again, and it just continued to sell out. So at that point, I started to look at this as a business and not just, something to do. So it's been a journey.
So 8 plays, selling out shows has become a habit, so to speak.
A good
So I
habit.
hear. Well, that's good. That's good stuff.
But
Let's
it
hope.
takes a lot of work, though. It's I didn't get any sleep last night. I was in the studio in Washington, D.C., cutting a commercial. And the night before that, we were working on a set. So we're promoting, and it takes months and months and months of preparation to do a show that only takes 2 hours, that lasts 2 hours. But they say if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life, right?
Yeah, and the play, takes a lot of people. That's why you always have a number of people in the credits for a TV show, like we do here with NCC TV. So let me ask you this: how did you get started writing plays? What led you? It sounds like the personal journey you had led to it, but you tell me.
I went to school actually to be an electrician, and I own a detailing shop over on Green Hill Avenue.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Howard.
Okay,
Howard.
You're a Wildcat.
Yes.
All right, you guys gave us a run for our money, but we did beat you, Salesianum. I just wanted to make that clear.
Yes. Yeah, so I graduated from Howard, and plays, it wasn't in my future.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had a thriving business as an electrician and also as a detail shop owner, but I just wanted to write something for my mother. I have no experience, and to be honest, between the 3 of us and whoever's watching, I can't even type. So all the plays
Wow.
that I've written, I've actually went and purchased a notebook from Staples and wrote them out.
Longhand.
Yes,
Wow.
longhand and a long time. But yeah, so I don't even look at myself as a playwright, because I just see myself telling stories. That's it. And most of the stories that I've written have always been relevant to either what's going on in my life or in somebody's lives in the community.
Right. Now, as I said, I went to Sally's, you went to Howard. So I hear that, like me, you are a native of Wilmington. What part of Wilmington did you grow up in?
I grew up on 9th and Pine.
All right.
9th and Pine, 840 North Pine Street to be exact.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I am in this production, Mama's Boy, I play a police officer patrolling the same streets that I grew up on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were right in the thick of it, so was I on West Fifth Street, on the west side. So let's talk about Mama's Boy. You have a situation where, as often happens in life, a man falls in love with a woman, right? And he's in love with her, and the fact that she has 2 boys from a previous marriage doesn't bother him.
Not at all.
It's and that's great. But then that's where the plot turns, and he finds out that the 2 boys are actually grown men. They're in their 30s. I mean, the plot line sounds, interesting, downright hilarious, and that's why I laugh a little. Tell us, about, Mama's Boy without, giving away all your secrets.
It's definitely about a young man who fell head over heels for, her name is Autumn. Her name is Autumn in the play. Yeah. And he was willing to accept her kids as his own. It didn't bother him. But what she failed to disclose was their age. So he's looking to meet these 6 and 7-year-olds, but to find out he's meeting 30-year-olds who have no intentions on leaving their mother's basement. They turned her laundry room into their bedroom. So it's a lot of realistic points in the play, but it's also comedy in the play. So most of the plays that I've written, they go both ways. I could take you on an emotional roller coaster. I can have you laughing 1 minute and crying the next. So some of what we deal with in the play is my story, because I'm the youngest of 3, and my brothers always said I'm a mama's boy. But the good thing is it was a balance, because I had my mother and my father, so I wasn't just clinging to my mother's leg without being disciplined from my father. So it's a wonderful story, and it's true to life.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of a man cave, but this takes it to another level.
Totally different level.
Yeah, you usually got to have your own place before you can call it a man cave.
Right, and most people have nightstands on both sides of their bed. He has a washer on one side and a dryer on the other.
Oh man, so I don't, it kind of reminds me of one of my favorite movies of all time, in a way. The movie's called Fight Club, which, by the way, for those who don't know, it's based in Wilmington, Delaware, starring Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, 2 of our best American actors. And the protagonist in the movie has a line that says, "We are a generation of men raised by women." And the line is important because it sums up kind of like this movement by a group of young men in Wilmington, Delaware, to create a fight club, which is a very masculine setting. There's a lot of fighting, and to understand everything, you're gonna have to see the movie yourself. But I go back to that line, we're a generation of men raised by women. Does that resonate with you at all? Do you think there's any correlation to this artistic piece that you've created with Mama's Boy?
Oh yes, definitely. They always say, Papa's maybe, Mama's baby. So
Yeah.
you're always going to be, typically, I don't want to say always, but they're always going to be closer to their mother. But like I stated earlier, you have to have that balance. And without that balance, you're in trouble, because a mother typically wants to love and nurture, and that father is the disciplinarian. And without the both, that balance is off. And that's what we're dealing with. Even in the city today, there's no respect because there was no respect being taught. You know how back in the day our parents used to say, "You know better."
Yeah.
But what happens when you really don't? Because we take that phrase for granted, thinking that they should know better, but if you're not taught better. And that's what I'm trying to do in this particular piece that I have here, Mama's Boy, is trying to show the other side of it. And with me being a police officer, I take the responsibility of a father, of an uncle, of a police officer as a friend, and I'm trying to mold these young men in the city. And a lot of people,
Yeah.
even today, they want to blame the police officers and they want to blame the politicians, but really it starts with the parents, and it can't be solved outside of the home. It starts inside of the home. So that's what we talk about in the show.
Yeah, and you, Priest, you remind me of a line that comedian Chris Rock famously used about the father figure in the house.
Yes.
And before I get to that, for those who are just joining us, we're talking about Mama's Boy. And, you know, once again, can we just talk about like when and where the play Mama's Boy is going to be held?
It's going to be at the DuPont, I'm sorry, DuPont, because my last show was at the DuPont, I apologize. It's going to be at the Grand Opera House, June 25th and 26th. 2 shows on that Saturday, 3:30 and 8:30, and then we're going to have one on that Sunday at 5 o'clock.
All right. Well, so the line I wanted to get to from Chris Rock that you reminded me of is in one of his acts, he talks about how, you know, the challenges of being a single mom, you know, or just the family dynamic in general. And there's in one part of his act, he's talking about how your mom could be holding a gun to your head saying, "I will blow your brains out," but it doesn't really scare you. But the minute she says, "Wait till your father gets home," oh, that changes everything.
Yes.
And I know that feeling very well myself. You know, all of us who were blessed to have, you know, our father in our lives full time know exactly what Chris Rock is talking about.
Yes.
So can we let me go back to that and the family dynamic you were talking about and how, you know, lots of people are dealing with different issues and challenges in the family, but nothing can replace like that whole mother, son. I'm sorry, the father and the mother being present to help raise the children. I mean, it's inescapable.
Yes, yes. And even it makes it a little more challenging when the mother has multiple kids.
Yeah.
So it's easy to focus on one. It's almost like I look at it as juggling. If you have 2 balls, you can kind of maintain it. But when you have 5 and 6 and 7 balls, you have to be a great juggler to prevent any of those balls from hitting the floor.
Yeah.
My mother had 3 children, and I wasn't just being raised by my mother and father, but I had uncles that was right there. So I never forget trying to cut class at Howard, walking out trying to be with my friends and trying to be cool, and here comes my uncle down the street, my Uncle Julius, who I love dearly. You know, he said, "Come here, let me talk to you." And I knew what he was going to do. So I just turned around and ran back to the school. So it takes that kind of love and discipline, not only just from the parents, but even from the neighborhood. Not
Yeah.
just from the neighborhood, but from your uncles, from just people that you look up to. Because if you don't have anybody that you look up to and respect, like, you don't have anything. And again, that's what we talk about in the show.
Yeah, and that respect translates to self-respect, and then respect for others, and it just
Yes.
it's a positive thing
Yes.
that's going to multiply.
Because it starts at home. If you don't respect your parents, nobody in the street can ever get that respect from you.
Exactly. So the show Mama's Boy is going to be June 25th and 26th at the Grand Opera House. Beautiful venue, but once those shows play and they're done and over with, where does the story go from there, so to speak? I mean, does the story end there, or are we talking off Broadway? You know, I always wanted to know.
Well, the good thing about the position we're in now is all the shows that I've done, I made a promise to Delaware. My very first show, I said, all my shows will always start here, and I've been fulfilling my promise.
Nice.
2 years ago, we had a national promoter come out and look at my show, Mrs. Independent. I apologize, Torn Between Two Fathers.
Okay.
And he loved the show. He didn't take that particular show out, but he took my next one out, which was Mrs. Independent. So we took that show around to, I think, 22 or 23 different cities across the country. And he's coming to see this one again. So I start home, and then we'll go to Philadelphia, then we'll go to New York, and then we'll go to New Jersey, and then we'll go to Memphis, then we'll go to Tennessee. So he controls the routing of the show, and I control what goes on in the shows. So this is definitely not a one and done production. This is just the beginning of a tour, and typically the tour takes about a year to complete. And Delaware, like I said, is always going to be my first stop.
So you've got much of the East Coast covered, a little bit of the South, and I guess from there you would look to take it, national.
Oh yes, and then conclude with the DVD. That's my main goal, is to have a DVD. I want to wake up one day and see my show on, the OWN network or BET or MTV. That's the goal of mine, and it's a process. Nothing comes easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So it's a lot of late nights and stress and away from the family. But this is a gift that God gave me, and if I don't use it, then I'll lose it.
Yeah, and so June 25th, 26th, and what are the times again at the Grand Opera House?
The Saturday show, which is the 25th, will be 3:30 and 8:30, and then on that Sunday, it's going to be at 5. And I'm actually bringing some friends along. It's not just me, but
Okay.
we have Carl Liley, we have Anthony Walker Jr., and we're actually bringing in Jack A. Harry from, remember the series 227?
Yes,
Back in
yes.
the day. Comedian A.J. Johnson, Shirley Murdoch, Christopher Williams. We have an all-star lineup.
Oh, wow. That sounds impressive. All right, so we're coming up on the end of our interview here, but is there anything else that you want to reveal about the characters in Mama's Boy before we wrap up, like I said, without giving the whole story away?
Sure. Like I said, I play a police officer, and I'm trying to save my city, the very streets that I grew up on.
Yeah.
But it's not just a message-driven play, like I stated earlier. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna have a good time, you're gonna hear some of your favorite songs being sang. You're going to rejoice, you're gonna see some of your own life on the stage
Good
being
grammar.
reacted. So, and I didn't want to do a retake because I want people to know that I'm human.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to college for this. So if there's anybody out looking at this saying, I want to be in that chair, I want to do this very thing, there's no conjunctions. I actually went to school to work with my hands, not my brain, but God shifted it where now that I'm writing shows, and the biggest thing that I want people to see and to understand is that if I can do it, they can do it. So it's God doesn't choose anybody when he gives them a gift. He gives everybody a gift. It's just up to you and what you do with that gift.
All right, well, that's just about do it for today. Unless there was anything that you wanted to add, anything we might have missed today?
Well, yeah, I just want to thank a couple of people for making this possible. First and foremost, I want to thank County Exec Tom Gordon for allowing me this opportunity to speak about this production that I have. I want to thank Wayna for also assisting me and getting me in this nice leather black chair, as well as my family, my Uncle Julius, who's always believed in me, my Uncle Ronald, my grandmother, and my son, who I know is in school, but hopefully he'll get a chance to see the state.
Great. Well, Priest Tyre, playwright, thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up this edition of Spotlight on Newcastle County. I hope you enjoyed today's show with Priest Tyre talking about his play, Mama's Boy, going to be playing in late June at the Grand Opera House. For County Executive Thomas P. Gordon and all of the fantastic NCC TV crew, this is Tony Prado. Thank you as always for watching. Take care.